Hello lovelies, I am so excited to share how to start wearing your tights this winter, because tights not only make your outfits chicer and provide a beautiful nuance that wouldn't be achieved otherwise, but for some of us, we simply couldn't wear skirts, dresses, or shorts until the spring without them. The world of tights has gotten so big, there's something for everyone, and it can be a little bit daunting sometimes. I think overall, just try to have fun with it. But today's intention is to make the outfits you're already wearing even more stylish by giving a chance to tights that maybe you haven't considered, or maybe bringing out old classics from your closet. Don't forget to stay to the end of the video where I'll be sharing do's and don'ts of wearing tights this winter. I'm Ziba and I am thrilled you're here. Welcome back if you've been here before. Make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the video. I make videos that help you get dressed so that you feel beautiful and confident, because if you feel confident, you can do anything. First way to start wearing your tights this winter is by considering matching your tights to your shoes. This is a really great rule of thumb when you're not really sure what type of tights to wear. Not only does this look super chic, and we saw it all over the runways, specifically Tory Burch, but it does more than anything is help elongate your legs. Especially if you have more of a pointy toe ending to the shoe, your legs will look miles long. But if you really want to take it to the next level, then try a monochrome look with matching tights. This is definitely a look that will be unforgettable and you will be voted most stylish. The second way to wear your tights, and it's a really great tip, is if you want your legs to look slimmer, you want to opt for a very opaque tight in a 50 denier to the max. In case you're not familiar, denier simply refers to how thick the yarn is on the tights, which in turn influences how opaque or thick the tights are. So at like the 5 to 10, you have a very sheer look that is barely there. Those tend to rip a little bit easier. So you really want to invest in quality and are really great for evening wear and also office looks. And you have the 15 to 50 denier, which works really well with most of kind of the colder weather month outfits and shoes that we wear, like loafers, boots, and also skew a little bit more casual. And then you have the 50 plus denier, which start to get really opaque, that do really well with wool, suede, leather, and tweed fabrics. And those tend to be really, really warm. And you want to make sure that whatever it is that you're wearing really matches kind of the heftiness of the tights that you're wearing, which we'll get to in a bit. But getting back to wearing those 50 plus denier tights to make your legs look slimmer, I love the way that this looks. It just really helps elongate everything. And it's also a really fun way to also kind of do number one and incorporate that color as well, especially in a monochrome look. The next way to start wearing your tights this winter are by thinking about what is going to make your outfit look more expensive, which is one of my favorite things to do on this channel, is how do we make things look more luxurious, even if they may not be. Color can really help influence this. I have a shorts video circulating here on YouTube for the last, I think, couple of years, and it's always very polarizing. Do you wear the black tights or do you wear the brown tights, even with a black outfit? In this example, I'm wearing a little black dress. I would love to hear what you think, especially in the context of what looks more expensive. Black is a classic choice because it's elongating, it's sharp, as well as timeless. However, one of my favorite colors to wear to make things look more expensive are brown tights, because they're a very intentional old money choice that look amazing with neutrals and surprisingly easy to style, even when it comes to wearing it with other blacks as well. For the brown color, you want to stay in a very chocolate brown tone versus like a reddish or light brown. That's not that you can't wear those, but if you want to stay in that elegant, expensive looking side of the bubble, then stick to those tones. Next, we have another kind of sleeper hit is the charcoal gray. It's softer than black and adds a lot of depth without contrast. This is a great way to instantly elevate a simple outfit and just have it be an unexpected choice when it could have been easy to wear a black tight. Next, we have navy tights, always refined and polished, also unexpected. Looks beautiful with tonal outfits as well. And a really great choice for professional settings too. And much like the charcoal, is just less harsh than black. Then kind of like the unexpected color to help your outfits look more expensive with tights is burgundy. This color just feels very rich and intentional. And it also feels trendy and fashion forward, but classic too. Very much a color that is starting to become a winter staple, where it was, I think, frequently overlooked in winters before like the 2023, 2024 winters. I think that's when it really started to pick up popularity. And I think now it's here to stay. And when you have these casual outfits, a 60 to 120 denier works really well as texture and patterns, and even adding that cable knit that has been so popular in our sweaters into tights, which looks so classic. And speaking of classic style, I'm so excited to share today's sponsor, Simple Retro, which has the most endearing story and a company that I've worked with since 2021 that instantly captured my Anne of Green Gables imagination. And now that I'm familiar with the founder story, it makes so much sense. It was a group of girls that met in New York City from all over the world in 2015. And this group of ladies loved vintage shopping and just kind of that romance of yesteryear that is really hard to find consistently in today's brands. So this passion for vintage clothing combined with their love of New York City led them to start Simple Retro as a way to stay connected and to bring their aesthetic to life. And since then, this company has been women designed. 87% of the team is women. They wanted a brand that was trend proof, that was made sustainably with ethical practices, and includes eco-friendly materials. I have some dresses for them that I've had for 4 years that still look brand new. I just wore this dress right here. It's a black velvet dress that keeps me really warm. And so I'm so excited to share the newest pieces of their latest drop, which happens to be this top. I've worn it in a couple of other videos as well. It's a really soft, buttery material that I love. It also has that high neck that I'm really loving right now that looks really elegant. It's also got like thumb holes that are really great for winter, especially when you're trying to get your arms through coats and things. Love wearing this top with their plaid skirt, which I know many of you love already because I've shown it here maybe like 4 or 5 times. I also love wearing this plaid skirt with one of their sky blue sweaters that is so luxurious. And for holiday dinners and festivities, I love this velvet set in a chocolate brown that looks so elegant, very Downton Abbey type of collar that I really feel like I'm always in that kind of world when I'm wearing their clothes. It just feels so elegant and refined and kind of like I'm of another time and place, which I love that escape. I love using fashion as a way to kind of explore different sides of my imagination. This is fantastic for winter because velvet is one of those materials that just keep us nice and warm, and then paired with some nice thermal tights underneath, which we'll get to in the next section. And you'll feel super warm and cozy without having to wear like thick bulky pants. The other knit that I've worn a lot is this crew neck sweater that's wool and very lightweight. I love wearing it with dark blue jeans. I think it looks so striking and just a really wonderful winter staple, especially as we head into Valentine's Day. And this shirt is like the ultimate romance. So Victorian and beautiful, and pairs just as well with a pencil skirt as it does denim or trousers. Look at the detail on the sleeves. And then equally detailed and Victorian is this gorgeous cardigan that just brings in that French elegance and a great topper for any shirt or just worn alone. I also like wearing this one backwards. It just looks really elegant with the buttons in the back. I love their mission and just romanticism of an age that is no longer here, that just takes me back. It just makes me feel part of it. I think you'll also really love their pricing. They're very reasonable. They work really hard to bring the best materials. For someone who's had these pieces for over 4 years, they still look brand new. They've aged so well, and I'm so proud to be working with them again. So I hope you check them out. In terms of thermal tights, I gotta say these are heaven sent to us Northerners. I live in upstate New York, and I would love to hear where you're from. Over the past few years, the fake sheer tights have really taken over the winter fashion scene, and there's a few different ways that you can wear these. And I think what's really cool about it is that it looks like you're just wearing like very subtle tights, but really you're wearing like the very heavy duty, almost like a thick legging. There's a couple in particular that I really love and recommend as a Northerner. The first are Calzedonia. These are ones that I actually own and have had just a really great experience with. The tights come together, like the skin tone comes inside and the sheer tight comes over it. But if you want to, you can actually separate the tights into 2 different pairs of tights. So in case you have use for that kind of like nude color underneath a different pair of tights, then you have that available to you versus just like committing to that one color. I also like that they don't have that weird diaper crotch situation that many thermal tights do, especially the Amazon tights. And there's plenty of really good Amazon tights. Most of them do have that kind of seam kind of around your hips that, I don't know, it just kind of feels a little bit awkward. And then that usually leads to kind of like a situation where you have to keep pulling them up because it feels like the crotch of the tights is constantly coming down. and that's super annoying. A couple of other tights that also don't have the diaper crotch situation. Number one, the Skims tights. These are so popular. I always have their stuff for years and years. Another brand is Commando. They do tights and leggings really well. They have a really great, very opaque thermal tight, like we talked about at the beginning of the video. Is a great way to just kind of feel like you're slimming your legs a little bit and elongating your frame. These are in stock. They also don't have the diaper crotch, as I mentioned. So some things to kind of stay away from when you're wearing thermal tights are any shoes that feel really dainty, like a ballet slipper. The couple times when juxtaposition styling doesn't quite work together. Also because the shoes generally really set the tone for the occasion, then immediately your outfit will just look a little bit more warm weather. A quick thermal tights cheat sheet is if you want your outfit to look elegant, then pick the fake sheer. If you have a freezing commute, you want a fully opaque, fleece-lined thermal tight. For the office, the fake sheer or sheer opaque are very appropriate. For a casual weekend, you want a thick matte thermal. And if you're only looking for warmth, you can always do that sheer thermal underneath and then put on whatever fashion tights you want over. Kind of along those lines is when it comes to opaque tights, making sure that the skirt or dress that you're wearing is decidedly fall winter. So meaning you don't want to wear a beautiful kind of flouncy Georgette dress or very floral with like a lot of sheer material. You really want to lead into the heavier textures like wool and tweed, corduroy, velvet, anything that feels very rich. Those fabrics are perfect for those opaque tights. On the other hand, if you're wearing a very sheer tight in a 15 denier, then you want to avoid heavy fabrics and lug boots and chunky loafers. You want something a little bit more dainty. These are better for the office or evening wear that overall feels a little bit lighter. Now, if you're gonna do the shimmery tights, the one thing that I will recommend will take you very far is by not skimping on quality, in particular for these, because the shimmery tights can easily look cheap if they weren't made well. One of the best tights that I have seen that I don't have, but they're in my cart, are these by Wolfred that look absolutely stunning. Like, I think this is like my Christmas gift to myself because I don't think I've ever spent more than $50 on tights. And these are definitely an investment, but I don't think I can skimp on these because it's really easy to start to get those runs that go horizontally on almost any kind of pair of cheap tights, but especially on something like this that you want it to look very luxy. You definitely do not want those little horizontal kind of like yarn pulls that start to happen. That's a huge don't. Which brings us to the do's and don'ts. Don't overdo the textures. For example, if you chose a cable knit tight or something with a pattern, then you want a more simple, smooth outfit to wear with it versus like something that is also very textured, because then it becomes too busy and the eye doesn't know where to go. Don't ignore fit. If anything, you want to err on the side of being too big, because most of the time, if they're too small, you're going to constantly have to pull them up and fix that, that kind of droopy, tight crotch that starts to happen. And that is so uncomfortable. It ruins the look because you just are tugging and just pulling at yourself all night. Don't force the nude tights. Many times the nude tights don't go with winter outfits or the palette and the textures that we're using. Good time to take a break from them and put them away. Do pick the right denier. Higher denier is going to be warmer and more polished in the winter. Do wear the classic colors like the brown and the navy and the black, but do play around with colors, including matching your shoes with tights to add flair to your outfit, elongate your look, and incorporate more color. Related to that is do match your tights to your shoes versus your skin tone, because this really helps elongate your lines. Do use them as layers. So one of the easiest ways to wear tights is like with a long skirt and boots where you can't really see the tights and you're just enjoying that warmth underneath. This works particularly well with thermal tights. Sometimes on really cold days, it calls for wearing those tights underneath trousers even. If you pick the thermal tights that you can actually separate, like the Calcedonia ones that I shared, then you can always choose to layer on a pair of tights over the base thermal layer. I hope this inspires you to pull out your dresses, skirts, and shorts this winter. I just did a video on how to play around with your accessories this season for warmth, function, and just to refresh an old look. I'll see you there, and if you learned something today, make sure to hit the subscribe button.